Welcome back. It's the Big Blue Banter New York Giants football podcast. I'm Dan Schneier, joined as always my co-host Nick Filato, and I want you to be honest with me, Nick. In all our time since doing this show, that includes 2019 Week 3 and everything after, have you watched a more exciting offensive film on the All-22 than this one? Is anything even remotely close?
No, it's not. The only issue was I went into this All-22 understanding that the Giants did not get a victory. They did not get a victory, and I expected it. 450 yards, 30 or 41 from Russell Wilson. I mean, geez, bro, did he not just cook? That was prime Russell Wilson that we saw. Matt Eberflus's defense, though, at the same time, this is why I'm tempering my expectations. This is not to throw cold water on Russell Wilson because he exploited a defense that was to be exploited. And I felt like if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm looking at Matt Eberflus and I'm like, this is the defense we got to go through. Jeez. But yeah, overall, it was one hell of an effort from the New York Giants.
And we'll get into it on this offensive film breakdown. For those who are new to the show, this is the All-22 coaches film breakdown of the Giants offense. On the next show, you'll be getting an All-22 coaches breakdown of the Giants defense. We want to do things a little bit differently today after taking some feedback from the comment section, which sometimes has great points. And we wanted to get into the film review aspect of it right away. So we're going to start with that, and then we're going to get into some overarching concepts. I'm going to have some film I want to run to bring up examples of players, which we'll get in there. And then finally, as those of you who are new to the show don't know, but those of returnees know, we will finish the show with superlatives: best player on film, best throw on film, fun stuff like that. But let's start it off with the film review, Nick, and I'm excited to watch this again. Really am.
Absolutely. We'll get right into the tape here. I'm going to bring it up. And this is the first play I have is 10:41 left. It's 2nd and 10. It's just a quick spacing concept out of empties, just Russ working the quick game. And I want you guys to see Russ's eyes here. And we'll see that a little bit more when we go through the end zone angle, but how quickly he processes what the defense is doing and then gets the football out to the stick, which is kind of tightly contested due to the leverage of that outside middle hook defender that you see by the 50-yard line, by the top of the 5 right there. But still, Russell Wilson puts it in a place. Theo Johnson secures it. I wanted to highlight this play because of the quick processing. I'm guessing Russell Wilson didn't want to throw to Malik Nabers on the 2 receiver side, the number 2. You see the kind of space because of the pre-snap leverage of the middle hook defender who is at the top of one of the crests on the stars, as you see right here. Yep. So he sees that, doesn't love it, even though that defender over pursued, and it would have been probably a better outcome if Malik Nabers caught the football there.
But he doesn't know that.
Target him, but he doesn't know that. So this is all happening very quickly, and you could see, watch Russ's eyes here. Boom, no, goes all the way through it, and then fires a football right before that outside middle hook defender comes and closes on Theo Johnson. Also wanted to highlight this because Theo Johnson does not have the best of hands, and he was able to chomp that in tight traffic. Yes.
Yeah, excellent first play.
Yeah, exactly. This is too high, too. So that was a too high defense. Quick decisions from Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson also got that quick release. So we'll love to see that. Very next play, 3rd and 4. 9:56 left in the first quarter. Love this anticipatory pass. Yep. From Russell Wilson. Shotgun. You have a 3-by-1 set with Theo Johnson as that outside receiver. Now, a lot in this game, we'll go over a lot of the notes a little bit later. A lot in this game, we saw Malik Nabers as the outside receiver in the backside of 3-by-1 sets, and the Giants were able to use that against Eberflus often, early and often. Here it was Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson gets a solid release off the line of scrimmage, leans, and then Russell Wilson fires this right past that middle hook defender. Again, this is an anticipatory pass, goes for 14 yards.
Tight window throw. He throws it into a second window. Those are all big check marks. And then he drives the football. You can see it here. Just an absolute drive throw on the money. This is a phenomenal play by the quarterback. Also, pretty damn good pocket.
Very good pocket. And that's something that was consistent through most of this game. Yep. And, man, we saw so much too high from Matt Eberflus, and it was just easy pickings for Russell Wilson underneath. Like, we talk a lot about those explosive plays that happened against cover 2 up the seam, cover 4, and a lot of with some of those Malik Nabers deep passes, some in cover 3 as well. But the underneath portions of zone, Russ quickly processed and made Eberflus's defense pay.
He looked so much better against this defense than the Dan Quinn defense.
Oh yeah, it was night and day. Single back 12 personnel with a motion is a play action. If you look at the bottom of the screen, look at Darius Slayton, man. Darius Slayton was splitting that, it looks like. I don't think Trayvon Diggs is going to be able to cover that, but Russell Wilson doesn't take it because he ends up getting sacked, and this is when he threw the football away. James Hudson, this is the first drive still. James Hudson gets beat to the inside by James Houston. But if he had another second,
Yep.
Yeah, if he had another second, play action, deep drop, hits the back foot. You could see Russell Wilson looking at it. Darius Slayton has leverage. I don't think either of those two players can collapse that. And this would have been a big play to Darius Slayton, I think, for a touchdown if he just had another second.
Yeah, this is one of those plays where we talked a lot last night on our reaction show about how James Hudson took points off the board with his penalties on the one drive. Just like last week, he took points off the board with a really bad pass rep and pass blocking rep here. This is going to be, it's blocked up well besides Hudson losing this one-on-one. And if he just doesn't lose this, and Mbow didn't lose many of these, it's a touchdown.
Exactly. So, and you could see, man, Houston tries to use his long arm, right, to establish distance on James Hudson, and watch James Hudson break that, but then he just doesn't preserve his inside shoulder. He gives the inside to Hudson. This is a great rep by Houston to recollect his balance here at the top of the arc and then work back to the inside. Because otherwise, I think right as you see, right before he gets hit, I think Russell Wilson is pulling the trigger for, I don't know. He doesn't really hitch into this, and maybe it was going to go to Theo Johnson. Maybe we could see it a little bit better from the other angle. I want to get your opinion on this, Dan, because Theo Johnson's wide open too, because Seven had to worry about Darius Slayton. So this was probably going to be like a 25, maybe even a touchdown, depending on what Trayvon Diggs was able to do to Theo Johnson. He's wide open as well because Malik Nabers is underneath, but James Hudson's James Hudson. If that was Marcus Bowen there, that probably doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's either a big play or a touchdown. It's just a very disappointing, but hopefully, we won't have to go through this again. I would hope this is the last time we see James Hudson for as long as either Andrew Thomas or Marcus Bow is healthy.
100%. 3rd and 24, still the first drive, quarter one, 7:47 left. This is middle of the field open. Look, this was a good adjustment, a good recognition by Mike Kafka. He's like, oh, you want to keep running too high, keep running too high, keep running too high. Well, we can't really throw the ball. There's another way we could beat these too high defenses. We can align the Giants in plus splits, meaning outside splits, outside the numbers, which you see on the screen right now with Darius Slayton and Malik Nabers, and then run Wan'Dale Robinson as the number 2 receiver right down the seam. And that's exactly what happens. And I love how Mike Kafka designed it, because it's the 3-by-1 set. Again, you have Malik Nabers as that number 1 receiver to the boundary. He's going to run Mike Kafka, that is Theo Johnson, right at Kenneth Murray Jr., who is the deep middle hook defender if this was a Tampa 2 defense. It's a 2-high defense, pre-2 post snap, easy to discern, easy to read. And watch how Kenneth Murray is worried about Theo Johnson, and then Wan'Dale Robinson just goes, and then you can see Kenneth Murray be like, oh shit, I think I need to carry that. Doesn't carry it. That's great scheming right there by Mike Kafka. Goes all the way down to the 1-yard line, and then James Hudson's dumbass takes another 15-yard penalty, which resulted in the Giants only getting 3 points out of this 16-play drive.
Yeah, at this point, Hudson's taken off like 11 points off the board, or something like 8 points off the board single-handedly. Just a disastrous performance by him before he was benched. But I love this play, and I love the scheme as you broke it down. I also like the pocket. The pocket was fine, but man, I love the throw the most. That is not an easy throw to hit that seam like Russ does. It's a pretty tight window there. You're throwing it between 2 safeties. You have to snap it off, as you can see. Look at the release. That ball just snaps out of his hand. It looks so pretty to me. There are a few throws on tape by Russ that just looked aesthetically insanely pleasing. He hits him right in stride on the upfield shoulder, just like as if he walked the ball there to Wan'Dale Robinson, despite honestly 2 safeties that you have to split.
Yes, it was a great throw. And again, a scheme set that up. It allowed for the C's to part because of the 2 outside vertical releases against a cover 2 defense from the Giants receivers. Great play by Jermaine Illuminor as well to handle 41, snatch trap him. That's like his 2nd snatch trap, maybe already in this game. He did that like 2 or 3 times in this one. Should have been. This should have been
a Cam. Yeah, it would have been. There's a lot of should have beens in this game. The Giants legitimately should have won this game. They completely outplayed the Cowboys, in my opinion, after watching the film, and we'll get into that throughout the next 2 shows.
I mean, that goes to the point that we made in yesterday's show, Dan. Right? Like, you got to finish. You got to win football games. That's what good teams do. Bad teams find a way to lose, and the Giants are a bad football team right now, despite this type of performance. They got to find ways to win. Here's a 2nd and 6 orbit fast Wan'Dale Robinson to the field side with Cam Skatte-GOAT on the other side. So that's going to set a fast 3 since there is a tight end on that side to the field side. It's going to change the coverage up a little bit, just shift it and widen it. But what I saw a lot on tape here was Malik Nabers as that number 1, as I said, but then they will also have the running back or a tight end to Malik Nabers' side, or the tight end would come from the opposite side if it was a 3-by-1 set.
Sure.
And then they would use the flat, and they would attack the flat like they were able to do right here against another 2-high defense with Cam Skatte-GOAT running underneath number 20 with Malik Nabers running a slant, and 20, the cornerback for Dallas, was following him. And you could see Russ just realizes this and just sees Skatte-GOAT underneath. get the football out of his hands, try to get a first down. Sets
Yeah,
up
it's
a
almost
good.
it felt like to me watching the tape that Russ was so in sync in this game and so comfortable that he could take the deep shots when they were available to him, but he could also just quickly transition to taking these underneath easy solutions whenever he really needed to. And that's credit to him, but that's also credit to, like you said, Mike Kafka absolutely dominating the chess match against Eberflus. And yeah, Eberflus is having a tough start to the year here. They don't have a lot of talent on that defense, Dallas, but we haven't seen, in my mind at least, a dominant performance from a coach versus another coach with the Giants in a very long time. This goes back to probably 2022. And even then, dude, it wasn't like this where we're like lighting it up in the passing game.
No, not at all. I love this
Oh, yeah.
as well, because this is
I
a
tweeted about
similar.
this one.
Yeah, so this is a 2x2 set, right? But the Giants used a similar type of approach. They're just going to run Theo Johnson to the flat. And that just happens. That's fresh in Dallas's mind. So you're going to have Theo Johnson on the flat. Now look at that flat defender in the same type of coverage shell, too high. The flat defender goes underneath Malik Nabers, and Malik Nabers and the Giants understand this. They know that Dallas Cowboys are going to do this. So instead of running that deep corner, 7-step corner, or whatever you usually see, and that there's some variance to that, of course, Malik Nabers cuts this off shallow and just makes it tight and stays on the 20 and really just like gets into the most shallow portion of the honey hole,
Right.
if you want to call it that, between the deep half safety and the flat defender, works it. And this is an easy pitch and catch well before the safety can even get there. And Trayvon Diggs almost makes an exceptional play on the football.
Well, I read this a little. I thought when I watched this play, it was like years of film of Trayvon Diggs watching the Giants. He felt like he could cheat down and take that underneath route, and then boom, he gets like for cheating there. He gets totally destroyed for doing it. And the Giants finally do take the actual shot into the honey hole, if you want to call it that, which I don't think we're allowed to say in 2025.
We can say whatever the hell we want. It's fine. And yeah, that's a good shot right there.
Yeah, for a while he was able to do it, Trayvon Diggs, and he was not, and they didn't, they got away with it, these corners, but not anymore.
Yeah. And now we have a 3rd and 7. This is the throw hot play. And Greg Olsen criticized Wan'Dale Robinson for not getting to the sticks here on a 3rd and 7. And
I think it's on Russ.
There's merit to that, but Russ is late here. Russ is so late here because the covering defender is basically a 5 technique pre-snap, dropping all the way to where Wan'Dale Robinson is splitting on the opposite side of the field, the numbers in the hash. And Russ is looking, it seems like, and we'll see this better from the end zone view, looking at that defender, that safety, I guess you can call him, but this is a cover 0 play with a blitz and then one guy dropping off. There's no safeties. And this is one I think
get out fast.
Yeah, Russell Wilson would like to have back. Protection solid with a blitz. They pick it up. That's a good play by Runyon and JMS right here. Runyon picks up 18, fires the football. And look, you throw hot, you got to turn. And Wan'Dale Robinson did, and Russ was just late with it.
Mbow is quick as he was pretty much the whole game to kick out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. His feet are just amazing, dude.
His feet help him. He got bull rushed a lot. I don't think it was a perfect game from Mbow. We'll get to that later. We'll give a film evaluation of that. But overall, definitely I'm enthused with what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely encouraged. 3rd and 3, 7:06 in the second quarter. You're going to reduce Wan'Dale Robinson's split. It's a 3-by-1. Again, you have Malik Nabers at the top of the screen. You have Darius Slayton occupying a slot. I do like how the Giants feel like these wide receivers are interchangeable, and they are designing plays specifically for Wan'Dale Robinson, much more so than Darius Slayton. I'm not going to sit here and say Darius Slayton is just a pure track star here, just a pure wind sprint guy, but that's more of his role. Whereas Wan'Dale Robinson is certainly that number. He's the number 2 option through 2 games, if it's not obvious enough after the performance that we just saw. But this is 3rd and 3. You got cover 3 zone pre-snap. That's what they're going to get. Post-snap, you're going to get Wan'Dale Robinson, and then you're going to have Darius Slayton release vertical, push 27 and push 20 off the line of scrimmage. And you could see, since it's cover 3, that deep third, he's going to take depth, because if Darius Slayton goes deep here, he might have to collapse down on that 27 and would have to then handle the curl flat. You have to wait until these routes declare, right? Well, this is a well-designed play against this specific defense, because you have the outside guy. 27 has to follow Slayton to some degree. He gets a little bit too close to Darius Slayton, and 20 has all this depth. He can't really collapse down on Wan'Dale Robinson. This is quickly processed by Russell Wilson. He fires the football, and it's a first down.
Yeah, so there's an example of kind of what he took away from a mistake he probably saw on the tablet earlier in the game where he wasn't fast enough to get the ball. And here he is. He diagnoses it fast, gets the ball out. Looks great to me.
Yeah.
Great scheme, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kafka had a good game, man. I wish the Giants could figure out a way to run the damn football, though, man. That's still a problem.
I still feel like every time I watch this run game, there's just like, even the plays that are blocked well, there's one mistake and it just derails the entire play.
Oh man, is this not just such a good throw? 1st and 10, second quarter, 6:27 left.
Oh yeah.
It's Wan'Dale Robinson up the seam against, again, another cover 2 defense, but this is a Tampa 2 where the Mike linebacker carries. Now, the Mike linebacker's in the middle of the field, and Wan'Dale Robinson is splitting the numbers in the hash, so he has a long way to go. Wan'Dale Robinson also does a good job releasing outside of that outside middle hook defender and then kind of just angling inward away from the safety. Russ fires his football with anticipation and puts it low into the outside just so Wan'Dale Robinson can slide and catch it and not even take a hit. Thought this was an exceptional throw from Russell Wilson, a great route from Wan'Dale Robinson. And again, another well-designed play by Mike Kafka. Slot fades. Only this is different than the slot fades that we saw in week 1, where it was just like, hey, it's man coverage. Trust your guys. Throw it up to him. This is, you need to throw with anticipation to carve through zone, because I think Matt Eberflus used zone coverage on like 96% of Russell Wilson's dropbacks. And here, when you throw with this type of anticipation, you can move the football even in a tight quarters like this.
Yeah, not much for me to add on these breakdowns. I feel like you covered literally every base on them, Nick. So good job on that. But I will say, I really do appreciate the back shoulder throw, the tight window he throws into. And that is, by the way, that is by design. Russell Wilson has that much command over his ball placement, or at least did in this game. Because if you throw that more inside, some people are, oh, you're supposed to the inside, not a back shoulder. No, if you throw the inside, the defender might make a play on the ball, or you might get your receiver hurt.
100%, man. It was well said. And here, look, this is the second touchdown against a cover 4 defense that Malik Nabers had specifically. So the Giants were targeting the quarters defense whenever they wanted to do that. It was just Malik Nabers release inside and then split the difference. This guy has such unique acceleration that the safeties and the cornerbacks, they just could not keep up with Malik Nabers. And I don't know what Donovan Wilson, number 6, was doing this entire game. He was out of position early and often, basically. Yeah, no, yeah. I like Hooker. I thought like Hooker.
I shouldn't say they suck. I think they're struggling to adjust to this scheme.
Yeah, like this, like Wilson stays down, and you can see like Bellinger and Wan'Dale Robinson. That's not great spacing there,
right?
But again, you have Nabers on the back side, so you have a 3-by-1 set with Skatte-GOAT to Nabers side, and you just have him split the cover 2s right there. Unless this is cover 3 and Donovan Wilson is a buzz defender, which very well might be. That wasn't communicated to Trevon Diggs, though, because he's in severe outside leverage here, and he just lets Malik Nabers run towards where Donovan Wilson was supposed to be if this was a quarters or cover 4 type of defense. So just good recognition by Russell Wilson to see the blown coverage and perfect. Great ball again, dude. A great ball. Just allow your super athlete to go up there and get it.
This wasn't his best ball of the day. It was still a good ball, but obviously you'd like to see it maybe let a little bit more inside for an easy touchdown. But when you have a player like Malik Nabers, you can just make that snap decision like Russ did and say, I don't care. I just need to throw it up and around, and he'll make the adjustment, because we didn't see it as much from that angle. The end zone angle has a great view on, or at least my end zone angle that I get with my tape. But the adjustment that Malik Nabers made to the ball in the air there, and the ability after the adjustment, not only to just throw his body, like he flips his hips and completely changes his body or his alignment of his hips in the air, which is insane to do in the air, but then also to high point the ball and come down with a catch after the DB tries to punch at it and punch it out. It shows the strength of his hands and his grip in addition to the body control. I thought that was the best catch of the season by any Giants player by far, and I thought it was one of the best catches I saw by any receiver that week.
Yeah, it was great, man. And here we have that 4th and 3, man. This is just a dumb play design or a decision by Russell Wilson, and I'm not sure. You do not have a move the pocket type.
I know. I was surprised by
from. This isn't like a move the pocket play where the offensive line shifts, right?
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you, and I'm glad you clarified that, because when I was watching this back a few times, I'm like, I don't think it was designed for Russ to roll right, but he just immediately makes that decision.
Yes, and I'm trying to see what he saw. Right? Maybe he thought the defender just outside of Theo Johnson pre-snap was going to latch onto Theo Johnson, and then you had the one-on-one with Malik Nabers blocking, and then that safety at depth responsible for Cam Skatte-GOAT, and he just made that because, like, look at the other side of the field. You had Wan'Dale Robinson.
Well, he has 3-on-2 on the other side.
Yeah, he has 3-on-2. Exactly. He has 3-on-2 on the other side, but there's space there, and there's inside leverage, from that defender pre-snap Lua foul. And I'm not criticizing, but I just want to see what Russell Wilson saw. Like we criticized Mike Kafka after now I'm starting to wonder, like, was this Mike Kafka? Was this really, it doesn't seem like to me that this was supposed to be a flood to that side. because why would you run Malik Nabers on a dig instead of running him to the corner? This would have been a touchdown more than likely, because you would have 3 threats over 2 with one defender, maybe 2.5 if you want to give the defender outside the hash a half there. But yeah, it's just
I think that's well
it
said
still
by
could have
you.
been completed though too. Skatte-GOAT, it's tough, but you good football players catch that.
It's a difficult catch to make, of course, but you're right. Good players catch that. And I also think in addition to that, on the other side, if he is quick to diagnose it and get that out to Wan'Dale, it's probably a first down, like you said, despite him, facing a 3-by-2. I also think we don't have it on the breakdown, but the third down play before that, man, like they had an advantage. It was a 6 on, or not an advantage, it was a 6-on-6, 6 blockers for 6 men in the box for the Cowboys. I was just super disappointed with the execution of that run on that 3rd and 3. This never needed to happen, this 4th and 3. If we're just able to, we should be able to catch a team by surprise on a 3rd and short, run the ball, especially when we have an even box like that, and win. We just simply can't win in these spots ever.
I know, man. It's so frustrating. Game. And it's not even like I didn't feel like the run blocking was bad here in this game again. Yeah. Maybe a slight improvement from week 1, just because they weren't getting beat off the snap like automatically, like it seemed like was happening against Washington.
Good point. But it was more they just couldn't get to the second level ever.
Yeah, there's always just one guy, right? There's like one player who can't execute the block, whether that's JMS, Runyon, GV. I thought GVR was the worst.
GVR was horrible.
I thought GVR was the worst offensive lineman for the 2nd consecutive week. JMS has his ups and downs. Runyon is meh. And then Luminor's a good football player, I think. I think Luminor is judged unfairly with the rest of the Giants offensive line that's trotted out there.
Yeah, but he's also better in pass pro. Like as far as the run game goes, he's better than the rest of them, but I don't really feel like he's much of a difference maker in that regard either. But I do believe you're right. Most of the issues that, as I mentioned a little earlier, and we've talked about now, you and I for at length, is because one player fails the assignment. But even when that doesn't happen, Nick, I just feel like watching the Giants run game versus these other run games I watch for Beyond the Box Score, the FFT show I do, we just never get up to the second level, man. It's always, even when the plays are blocked up pretty nicely up front and they don't get immediate penetration in the opposing defense, there's somebody just there at the second level, unblocked every time.
It's annoying, man. It's annoying.
It's really annoying. Yeah.
This is one of the best runs of the day. The 24-yard run by Cam Skatte-GOAT. They bring in Jackson Dart. You align in a full house formation with Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger in the backfield, and you just run a counter tray type of play. You're just gonna run GT read, pull the 2 guys, and then that's well blocked up by Runyon, but you can see the Cowboys slanted towards the pull or towards where the pullers originally were. And that played to the benefit of this rushing attack. Now, Jackson Dart makes a good read to hand this football off, and Skatte-GOAT just sticks his foot in the ground to cut right around Runyon's block. And there's really just no one else even in the vicinity of Cam Skatte-GOAT. This is one of the easier 24-yard runs that you can have.
It reminded me a lot, Nick, of some 2022 Mike Kafka, where he would just come out of his bag with an amazing play call in the red zone that took the defense by surprise or just confused them. Or at the very least, if you don't want to say either of those 2 things on that play, it for sure took advantage of the aggressiveness that the Cowboys were playing with in this game and on that play.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Also, rolling back to that real quick, I just want people to see that run one more time, because this is some of the stuff we just love with Cam Skatte-GOAT at the end of this run. I mean, a lot of running backs will go down right here at the 8. Nope. Look at the contact balance in him. You cannot go high to bring this guy down. I feel like that's going to be the case for him all his career with the Giants.
His balance when he's hit high, like his core strength coupled with his ability to stay on his feet. It's like those 2 things are crazy. And I don't know how innate that is, if it's just a physical thing, but that's something we saw all throughout his Arizona State. I know.
He almost somehow scored. He gets first contacted at the 8 and then somehow 9, and he somehow finds a way to almost score this play.
And he would if Donovan Wilson didn't get flung off of Cam Skatte-GOAT's body. like Donovan Wilson lost the rep terribly, yet still successfully was able to make the tackle 8 yards down the field. Because look, he keeps his feet here, and I think I don't know if I don't know what number that is. 57 is able to actually drag him down if Cam Skatte-GOAT can put his feet in the ground, but Wilson's body was in the freaking way.
But regardless, it's just such a big play for the Giants to me, because it's like if we get stopped at the 8 there or the 7, I don't know if we're getting it in. I think we might be looking at another like 4th and 6 at the 6, and we're kicking a field goal.
Yeah, I know. And that we know how that goes. So here is a 2nd and 1. The Giants bring Jackson Dart out now, and it's just shotgun. It's just going to be a zone read. I really appreciate how the Giants were able to block this up.
Yeah.
But, and you'll see this, right? You got two firm double teams. Watch the I think it's number 95. He just grabs John Runyon and disallows John Runyon from getting to 57. Like that is a defensive hold if you've ever seen it. And I don't want to be this guy, Dan. I don't want to be this guy. I know both sides can do it, but specifically with the defensive film, there were just egregious misses when it comes to holding. And here's one on the offense that I just think needs to be called. He's turning John Runyon away.
Right.
That's a 3-yard run that I think could have been much bigger for Tyrone Tracy Jr. because 57 is probably going to get blocked by Runyon, and then he can go. Tyrone Tracy Jr. will probably bump this back to the right. I don't know if the edge defender is going to be able to get to him, and then it will just be Tracy against 28 in the hole.
Yeah, it's an egregious miss by the refs. It seems like there were just a lot of missed calls.
They suck. Yeah, they suck.
From a holding standpoint in this game.
And again, it wouldn't be that big of a deal if they weren't calling it the way they were calling it. That's the issue.
That was my biggest issue. Just got to keep it consistent. If you're making it clear, and they did, that it's one of those we're going to make a lot of calls game, and they really were. I mean, even like I watched back both of those George Pickens interference calls, man. It's like, I guess it's interference too, but it also feels like George Pickens is initiating the contact with the DB
every time.
So every time. What is the DB supposed to do if he's in phase and a receiver puts his hands on him first, and then they lock, because that's just like natural for football. Like, you're going to lock, but then he kind of separates at the end. Pickens like, well, the DB was locking him, I guess, but it would have happened if Pickens didn't like initiate the contact. That's stupid.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. And the Giants are still undisciplined with their hands.
Yeah.
And, I'm not trying to excuse that. It's just really the consistency.
And
I just think, like, I watched the Dallas or offensive line, not to get too far into this, and they held on almost every play. And some of that's outside the frame. And I see like the shoulder pad for Dexter Lawrence or for any of the players, Abdul Carter, like just get uplifted. Right. It's a clear hold, and they're just not calling it. Now, to Dallas's credit, they don't hold it super long. They hold it long enough for the run to be successful, but they do get their hands off. Whereas guys like James Hudson hold them like it's a teddy bear or something.
And then Slayton gets called for a hold on that long Tracy run, where it's
that was a bullshit one too. Yeah, it was like
where it's like, all right, like if you want to call that because you're watching it and he kind of has like a grasp of him with his right hand, like despite like at the very end, I thought it was a pretty good block until that point. Well, then call the egregious ones too. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
It was a poor job by the refs, but
not that they were to blame, but yes.
No, there's plenty of blame to go around here. Here we have the Giants, a 1st and 10. I like this play. It's a 3-by-1 to 2-by-2 motion wide switch release with Wan'Dale Robinson going wide with the wheel, and then Darius Slayton clearing out. Now you have a 2v2 out there with a lot of space to the field, but didn't even really matter, right? Because this was a fake pitch to the boundary, and then that got all the linebackers and second level defenders working towards a boundary, and Theo Johnson just went right behind him. Easy money right here. This is something that Dak Prescott and Schottenheimer were running against us pretty often. A lot of those little misdirections on the defensive side of the ball. Giants were able to have success with it here.
And this was set up, by the way. We always talk about like marrying the run game, the passing game. Kafka ran enough pitches in this game, not to much success, but he ran enough pitches to set up that play.
Yep. Oh man, here we are. 2:50 left in the fourth quarter. 4th and 4. You're going to motion Theo Johnson wide. Smart, right? 3-by-1 set. And you have Malik Nabers in the slot with the number 2 receiver after the motion, being the inner receiver between Nabers and now Theo Johnson, who motioned out wide. And Wan'Dale Robinson just runs right up the seam, and nobody accounts for him. Yep. Again, that safety right there, I'm not sure. I don't think they're comfortable in this defense. It looks like it's a cover 3 type of look, and that safety thinks he might have the curl flat. You have people paying a lot of attention to Malik Nabers, including that center field safety. And then it looks like Trayvon Diggs has the midpoint, but I think Trayvon Diggs believed that the safety had Wan'Dale Robinson, because why would you give him the inside like that?
Right.
So some kind of miscommunication with Malik Hooker and Trayvon Diggs.
I really think the Cowboys, the Giants took advantage of the Cowboys' aggression to stop a stick throw here. They thought, look, it's 4th and 4. The Giants are trying to go for the sticks. And this is something the Giants did all throughout Dable's tenure, it felt like, to me at least, until this season, where they're finally starting to attack on these. They attacked on a 3rd and 1, which we'll go over in a bit at the end, maybe. I have a clip of that. And they attacked on a 4th and 4. And they also attacked, I believe, on one more short to go situation. And this is just how you can win football games, by not always trying to go for the sticks, because you catch the defense in this spot like this, where they're playing up. Like these safeties are cheating down, and look at what happens. He's wide open.
Yeah, I know. And again, they're not on the same page, Dallas. And
No,
we were able to take advantage. That's what you're supposed to do. Because you see like multiple defenders going out to the curl flats. Like one of you
right.
guys is not executing the right assignment right now.
Which you see at times with the Giants too.
Absolutely. Dude, this is one of the best throws I've seen from a New York Giants quarterback in quite a while, man. This is the touchdown to Malik Nabers with 33 seconds left. Cover 4. Look, you can see this one's clear. Right? You have both those, that safety's gaining depth, and Malik Nabers just outruns them both.
It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter. And the throw is so good that Malik Nabers is full stride the entire time. This throw happens behind the 50-yard line, Dan.
Yeah, let's take
Russell
a look.
Wilson releases his football at the 45. Yeah,
and it drops to the back of the end zone, which is 10 yards out. So it's about a 54-yard air throw that hits a full in stride 4-4 athlete. And not only just hits him in stride, it's like it doesn't just hit him in stride where he has to outstretch for it or kind of adjust to it. He's blinded because it should be defensive pass interference because the guy contacts his helmet, and it just hits him right in the hands. You'll see from this angle.
There's so much to go over with this specific play that I appreciate. I think I put it on Twitter. Yeah. Like even if you look up front with the protection, like it's a good pocket. You have a well executed twist pickup by GVR and John Runyon and JMS. You have Jermaine Illuminor handling his guy, and then look at Marcus Mbow against Dante Fowler. Like you can see like that strength right there. The strength to get Dante Fowler. Like Dante Fowler tries to put his foot back in the ground and he can't. Look at that foot. Look at that foot come up off the ground once you see Marcus Mbow torque himself and then drive Fowler into the deck. That's good, man. That is an awesome rep by Marcus Mbow against a veteran pass rusher.
Any of those reps by James Hudson?
No, of course not, dude. And I'm not. And again, like I feel like I've been fair with James Hudson. Like I don't think James Hudson is the worst tackle in the world, but he has severe limitations, and you don't want him to play extended periods of time for obvious reasons. But this player right here, while he does have some limitations, this was his first NFL action, and he's holding himself. He's holding himself
on an island,
like on an island. Well. He's disciplined. His feet are just far better than James Hudson's. He's framing his blocks well. He's handling counter moves. He has a mean streak and power to him too. Like that could be just a massive draft find. It really could be, man.
It really could be. And I think it's pretty obvious and blatant when the Giants go back and watch the tape of this game that, and we'll go over this play in a second if you want to pause, is that he needs to be playing over James Hudson. Yeah. I don't think it's even remote. We'll see what happens this week. I think, the fans will probably lose their minds if Dable says Hudson is starting the next game. But what's interesting to me will be the step beyond that, which is if and when Andrew Thomas does return to the field. No, I don't mean to say if. When Andrew Thomas returns to the field, is there a role for Marcus Mbow? Because, man, he just looks the part. And I'm not saying it was a perfect game. I think you said it best. Like there are times where he has a mean streak and he does play with good power, but I feel like that's more when he's like attacking or moving forward or declaring himself. There are times where his bait, like he needs to work on his anchor and his base over the offseason, and he will.
Yeah. So when he shows that good power, when he finishes those blocks off with authority, it's a lot of the time it's when an edge rusher or a pass rusher is trying to counter and he dicks the counter and he gets ahead of the counter. So the edge rusher does not have his feet firmly in the ground. And this is an adept athlete, somebody who has this type of reactive quickness, who can quickly engage himself and then unlock and maximize his own strength. Now, I don't think his strength is in the top echelon of the NFL or anything like that, right? It's a little bit, especially from an anchor standpoint, I would say it's something that you want to monitor, because if some good pass rusher unlocks and runs through Marcus Mbow, they're going to push into the pocket a little. He's going to concede some ground. That's like something
Myles Garrett would be a bad matchup for him.
There's a lot of guys who would be a bad matchup for him when it comes to that specific thing, but he's showing himself well. And I think hopefully he's only like 22, 23. He'll only grow into his body a little bit more and get a little bit stronger, but
that's what I'm thinking.
He's pretty good from a technique standpoint, which is surprising for a rookie day 3 pick.
Shockingly good from a technique standpoint for a day 3 pick. As far as the feet go, that's obviously good. I think that's less shocking. Like that's probably what his calling card was in general coming into the NFL. But to me, man, watching a player like that, as we just described, Marcus Mbow, I'll take that any day. Like I think it's much easier for you to improve your base and improve your core strength and just add size over a few off seasons and years in the NFL and as you grow into your body than it is to improve your footwork and improve your technique. Those are things that I think we don't even see a lot of the times. Eric Flowers never improved his technique in my mind at tackle, and Evan Neal never improved his feet, his footwork at tackle. These are things that can't be improved. Mbow has the one thing you can improve, I think, or one of the things that are easier. It's easier to improve.
I agree. Now let's go over this last play, and then we want to talk broadly about notes. And I think you have some plays that we put up here as well. This is the Russell Wilson interception. I'm too high. Again, I'm assuming, Dan, that Russ thought Malik Nabers was posting it. I don't know. Was he trying to throw this away? Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell. It looks like he falls off his back foot. Like the pocket isn't great, but it's not like he was in a dire circumstance. This might have just been like a boneheaded play by Russell Wilson. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I can tell you one thing, and it's very apropos given the conversation we just had. Marcus Mbow gets pushed right back into the pocket, and he's the one conceding that pressure. So these are the types of issues that we were just talking about, Dan and I.
Right.
Like, look, he concedes some ground there, and then he holds up and he re-anchors. But that, I think, pressured Russell Wilson to the point where he made a really bad decision and interception. Giants lose. You know, with fall grilling right around the corner and Labor Day just behind us, I've been thinking about all those end of summer cookouts. There's nothing like the smell of a grill firing up with all your friends surrounding you. Personally, I fired up Omaha Steaks last weekend, and it was a total home run. From handcrafted steaks to juicy burgers, deli-style franks, meaty chicken wings, and more, Omaha Steaks really delivers the world's best steak experience. During their current sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. And our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code BANTER at checkout. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917. Family owned for over 100 years, and every bite is backed by a 100% guarantee. Whether it's Saturday or Sunday, or just a weeknight dinner, it's the perfect way to celebrate with unbeatable flavor and convenience. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Labor Day sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code BANTER at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code BANTER. Go to omahasteaks.com to get 50% off site-wide during their current sale and use promo code BANTER to check out for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply. See site for details. Big thanks to our advertiser, Omaha Steaks. I've been wearing underwear every day for years, mostly, but I've never really felt like I found the one, you know? Either it rides up, punches, or just feels off. So when I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I was honestly pretty excited. I tried their cotton 5-inch boxer briefs, and wow, they're a game changer. They hit perfectly at the thigh and actually stay there. No bagging, no wedgies by 5 o'clock, just pure comfort. And for the gym, the Stretch 5-inch boxer briefs are amazing. They move with you as you work out. They keep your shape, your form, and they do not ride up. If you want to feel comfortable, confident, and actually enjoy your underwear, shop Skims Men at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show, Big Blue Banter, in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts for the whole family, Skims just launched a big holiday sale. So go to skims.com and check them out.
Yeah, and that's going to happen sometimes, obviously. He's not a perfect player, but he's certainly an advantage, I think, over what we've had. And it gives me at least some hope that Giants can get through one more week if Andrew Thomas isn't ready to play, because who knows when he's going to be ready to play.
Yeah, I don't, man. I don't. Here we have another player loading in here. This is going to be a 3rd and 1, right, Dan?
Yep. 3rd and 1 situation here. This is a little bit what I talk. Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
No. All you, buddy.
I was just going to say what I was referring to earlier, which is on these 3rd and short situations, Russ is way more, and the Giants seem way more willing to attack downfield and not just go for the sticks. And he sees it pre-snap. Look at where he sees the one safety in the middle of the field. He's cheated all the way toward that right hash. This is obvious to him. He's not going to look for a solution at the sticks. He's going to plant his foot and fire, and he trusts his arm talent. And look at this ball. It drops right in over the top. Well, not does he trust his arm, he trusts Nabers to win this route. For some reason, the Cowboys are playing it this way with a corner pressed up on Nabers despite not having safety help, which I think is just a dumbass decision, really, from Eberflus.
Yeah, I mean, this is you have a man coverage look towards that side, and the Giants want to exploit that, right? The Giants are going to take advantage of that look. And attack. It's not like you got a lot of man coverage. And I think this might be one of the many reasons why you wanted Malik Nabers towards that side as the free access player was the matchup against Trevon Diggs. And just like, if we get man on man and there is a safety in the middle of the field, we are going to take that, because Russell Wilson, there's few passers in the NFL, and this is high praise, but I think it's accurate too. There are a few passers in the NFL who throw a better touch ball over the top, fading towards the sideline like this. So you just maintain the red line as a wide receiver and you could just catch it just like you saw here. This is a great 3rd-and-1 conversion. And it's no wonder that the Giants were so inclined to attack vertically on these 3rd and these 4th and short situations. They had the matchup advantage with guys like Malik Nabers and Wan'Dale Robinson, and there were a lot of zone breakdowns in Matt Eberflus's defense.
And I'll say this before we get to a couple of other ones I put up there, Nick. I think that overall, just thinking about what I watched and what you watched on this All 22, this was the first time I felt like the Giants went into a game like this where they were able to be confident in what they were going to see from a defensive standpoint, like what the opposing coordinator is going to do, and then how to attack that through the air in the passing game. Like, I just haven't seen the Giants have a game like this ever on tape, really. I think, well, I know ever since I started covering this team, where they were just aggressive throughout the game and like, we're going to get this look, we want to attack this here. And all of these decisions were to attack vertically in the passing game. When have we done that? Because I know we faced defensive coordinators before who were struggling, or defenses who were struggling, or defensive coordinators who were not only struggling and defenses are struggling, but also who are very declarative in what they want to do from their schematic standpoint. And we should have been able to attack that over and over and over again vertically, like we see some teams do in the NFL throughout, the course of watching a season. But we finally did it. Like we wanted to do it, and we did it to the tune of 450 passing yards. It's really insane.
It really is, man. It really is. And there were still those long sustained drives that the New York Giants have unfortunately been known for, dating back to when Jason Garrett was the offensive coordinator. Here, we'll bring up some more of your plays before we go over more notes.
Yeah, this one is the end zone angle of the throw to Slayton. I just wanted to put this in. I think this is one of the most aesthetically pleasing throws I've seen ever in my life. I put it on Twitter, and the only caption I put is, it literally looks like he's walking the football to the intended wide receiver. Look at it. Look at this fucking ball, dude. This is just sickening. It's sickening how good that throw is.
I know. It really is. It's great. And great pocket off play action, and another blown coverage where I don't know what 20 was doing. They missed Deron Bland so much in this game, man.
It was a great release by Slayton too, which you can't see.
I mean, it wasn't a bad release. Like, I'm not saying it was a bad release, but it wasn't like the release. It's not like the cornerback got fooled by the release and then Slayton stacked him. It was the cornerback thought he was in trail and he thought he had help over the top. That's what it was. True. And that's no knock on Slayton. That's just the reality of it. And Slayton did what he was supposed to do. And I don't know where the help was, or if 20's looking right there. He's like, oh, well, was I supposed to be? That's just supposed to be me. Like, what the hell?
It's pretty amazing, man. Thinking back on this game before we get to this last throw I put up there, Nick, how few deep pass attempts have been dropped, quote unquote drop. I use the term drop in heavy quotations because I feel like some drops over the years, not Jones, all their quarterbacks, Eli, whoever, are not on the receiver. They're just tough catches to make. This guy throws an insanely catchable deep ball. Like, we're not going to see a lot of drops. Slayton, a guy known for drops, like, there's no way to drop that football right there. Like, anyone can catch that football. As Wan'Dale said during training camp, and Slayton said during training camp, he throws the most catchable football you can ever imagine.
It's graceful. That's the word I would use when it comes to Russell Wilson throwing the football. It's a very graceful throw. It just drops in there. Now, this last play, Dan, what is this one?
Let's see. One I wanted to put up, it's a technically, not quite technically, but it is a far hash field side throw. And I just love this stick drive throw here from Russell Wilson. I forget what this was. This might have been a 1st and 10, or I believe it was a 2nd and 10 here situation. And it's just such a tight window to get that ball into. You have to get it over that second level defender, in between that corner, and just stick that throw from a timing standpoint, from an anticipation standpoint. And he just does all of those things there.
You're 100% right. This is a great throw, great play, field hash throw. And it's something that, look, a lot of defenses do this with quarterbacks. We talked about this, especially non-elite quarterbacks, where they try to cheat the field side. Right. Russell Wilson was attacking that, right? And Russell Wilson did just a phenomenal job in this game, and Mike Kafka as well, like working the middle of the field, because Eberflus loves to run zone. Again, 96% zone on passing attempts, which is crazy. And a lot of that was too high. So there was a lot of space in the middle, and the short and the middle parts of the field. And you saw on a lot of these clips, Theo Johnson over the middle of the field, Wan'Dale Robinson over the middle of the field. Oh, you want to really play those too high? We're going to split the deep half. And then we do with Then we do with Wan'Dale Robinson. He splits the deep half. You want to play cover 4? We're going to find the void within those deep quarters defenders, and we're going to exploit that. We're going to run eye candy at one of those middle fourth defenders, those safeties. We're going to run somebody, and he's going to think that's his assignment. You could tell they were so uncomfortable in this defense, and the Giants exploited that time and time again. And it's sickening, Dan. It's sickening that the New York Giants didn't get the win here with how well this offense played and how well the New York Giants offense toyed with the Dallas Cowboys defense. 37 points is a lot of points. We have not been accustomed to seeing that all too frequently. And you come away with another L, man. Like, you want to play too high? Bet, bro. We're going to attack the middle of the field. We are going to attack the middle of the field. And that's even more impressive because the Giants, usually when you play too high, you run the football. The Giants couldn't even run the ball. You're right. Very concerning. Very concerning. That's a very concerning reality that we need to keep in the back of our minds as Giant fans as we progress through this season. But they were able to successfully attack through the air, which is also an aerial assault is something I'm going to support. But damn, dude, with the light boxes they saw, I really want to see some more success running the football, and it just wasn't there.
It takes confidence. It takes aggression. It takes timing and ball placement and velocity and all of those things to attack what you just said, the situation you just described, which is a team playing in cover 2, cover 3. And like, especially that Nabers game, what should have been a game-winning touchdown throw. There's just like that when you look at that as from a quarterback standpoint, he's not supposed to make that pass attempt, but he just trusts that Nabers is going to win to that spot, even with the safety where the safety is. And he does. And he trusts his ball placement, his timing, and his ability to get the football to him in a perfect fashion, as Russell Wilson did on that play. And it's all borne out by the stats, Nick. According to Fantasy Points Suite Data, I think it is, or Fantasy Points Data Suite, Russell Wilson, and this is what the reason they use 5+ air yards because they want to filter out screen passes and bullshit like that around the line of scrimmage. When you're filtering out all that bullshit on just throws that were 5+ air yards, Russell Wilson had a 91% catchable target rate. By far best in the NFL, obviously. That goes without saying. But we're talking about 91% catchable rate. That's how easy he made it for his wide receivers in this game. You can't overstate how good he was in this game. I know he had a bad moment in overtime, right? I get it. And we had one play earlier where we're like, you were late to Wan'Dale, dude. You should have seen that a little earlier. We're talking about 2 or 3 plays out of 50 or 70 plays, 50 pass attempts, 50 dropbacks. And the other 48 or 47 were flawless. 91% catchable target rate is unreal. It's unheard of.
It is, man. It is. And it shows up on the film. It bears out in the analytics as well. This was a great effort by the offense, other than, of course, the rushing attack. And yes, it was wasted. I feel like the Giants did such a good job from a scheme perspective, putting defenders into conflict. A lot of it was on the backside of those 3x1s using the running back. That's why we saw so many running backs at the flat. There was space for a lot of players. And Russell Wilson diagnosed things so quickly and got the football out of his hands with that quick release. And that's from the short to the intermediate to the deep. And abusing cover 2 in a lot of different ways. Just a good game plan, well executed other than the rushing attack. And the result was not what the Giants hoped for, of course.
And if we want to flash 1 or 2 more here, because I do want to we talked about all the good. Let's talk a little bit about the bad in this game. And as far as the bad in this game goes, I thought GVR took another step back from what we saw in 2024. It was a bad game last week in his debut with the Giants, and I thought it was arguably at times even worse this game. I got a couple plays up here that I just wanted to highlight that we're getting to a point here with GVR where he may be done, I think. Or at least it's certainly possible to me that he may be done. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, GVR has struggled. This was one of Chris Manhertz. I put up 2 of Chris Manhertz's block. This is a solid one, helped out a little bit by Mbow. He had another one too that was very impressive. Where
I think if GVR holds that block there, or just can make that block there, Skatte-GOAT has an insane cutback lane.
Yeah, he would. It's tough block to reach block on the backside of the play. Like here, these are the kind of plays I'm a little bit more concerned
with. Yeah, because
he just like right off the get go, he gets pushed back. You could see his back bow, his shoulders go up. Right. The defender is in such a better position. The defender has his gap and the other gap basically covered, right? So you're not preserving one gap as an offensive lineman, and you're losing at the point of it. And that's your only assignment. There's nobody really inside of you that you have to worry about, right?
Right.
They slide over to a 4 eye shade, and that's your guy. And you got dominated there. And if this was one rep, yeah, sometimes you lose a quick rep. It's not, dude. Like GVR has had a significant slide off so far this season.
And this is a good rep. This is a good rep here. I love this rep from Jon Runyan here.
Oh, Jon Runyan. Yeah, this was a great block by Jon Runyan.
Great rep by Runyan. Like, I want more of that. I bring it up, Nick, to just be like, can I get more of this in my life as a Giants fan? Like, really good blocks in the run game like this. Like, other teams get this, man. These are so few and far in between. And it feels so good to watch this.
And you could see, man, like, look at Runyan, look how low he maintains throughout this rep. He makes contact. Like, 95 tries to get right through the A gap. He makes contact. You can see his hand placement, small the back. The other one is on the chest. And just look at his feet. Just drive. He drove him out. That's an exceptional rep by Jon Runyan, and the fact that he was able to stay that low. I really appreciated that play.
Yeah, that was a great play. And I'm trying to find one more because I just wanted to bring this up for a talking point for you. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. This could be it. This one. All right, here we go. So I just want to bring this point up because we've discussed this player a lot, and I think it's right to start to consider, are the Giants making the right decision playing this player as many snaps as they can? It's Theo Johnson. Like, you can't throw with better anticipation here than Russell Wilson throws with here. He needs to be rewarded by his tight end getting his hands around and making this football catch and winning the route. He just loses this route so badly, Theo Johnson.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you're 100% right, dude. I can't tell you how many times on tape we see plays like this, only the ball doesn't go at Theo Johnson because the football's out of Russell Wilson's hand before Theo Johnson enters his break. And this isn't just on the deep. This is a deeper route, right? This is a route where he's trying to go vertical and kind of run like a little stick and nod around. It's a vertically based route. But Theo Johnson is so – I can exit out of that one. He's so – because this was in my notes. He's so late with everything. Like, he is not like the athlete that people think he is when it comes to his play speed. He plays so much slower than he tested, Dan. And there are just so many times where Russell Wilson has already let go of the football and Wan'Dale Robinson has it, and he's like making a man miss. And then you see on the backside, you see like Theo Johnson whip his head around and he's like looking with his hands up, like, where's the ball? And it's like, bro, like you're very slow in and out of your breaks. It's like I understand the allure of Theo Johnson, and I'm not out on Theo Johnson. I know I've been tough on Theo Johnson on this podcast, but it's deserved. And it's just because there is this narrative that he's just, super athletic. He plays slow. He does not play fast. And when he has these deeper concepts on the intermediate and deep portions of the field, where it's not just vertical, where he actually has to make a cut, you shouldn't throw him the football because he can't do it because he's so damn slow.
Tough for him. Yeah.
And not even just 90-degree. Like, I mean, the rounded ones, it's just, it could be something where he just has to get his head around to the quarterback.
Exactly. His awareness is not good. His hands don't get up fast. And why I bring it up is because the Giants have done a lot of changes to their depth chart when players have struggled, with the exception of Theo. Like, they've given a lot of other players a lot of opportunities. Flott, who's doing well and succeeding with it, among others. That's not the only example of it. And yet Theo just seems to continue to get this pass as we're just going to let you develop. We're going to let you get all these snaps. And I get it. In the run game, they want to have him out there, dude. There were some reps I really liked by him. And I think his body and his frame gives the Giants an edge on the line of scrimmage. I can understand that. But there are routes like that one where I think, like, what about this one? You could run it right now. The third video I put up there. Bellinger last week against the Commanders in the red zone makes the catch, right? He gets over the middle here, runs a pretty good route, gets the ball and makes the catch. And I wonder if that was Bellinger lined up there instead of Theo Johnson. Do we have a catch there? Because I put that play up there specifically because 2 plays later, the Giants were forced to kick a field goal. If that's Bellinger running the route and making the catch and not Theo not getting his head around, because it was a great anticipatory throw by Russ, does the game change? Does Bellinger get us down to the 2 or 3 yard line there, and then we just run it in with Skatte-GOAT? Maybe that's the difference in the game. Another difference. Yeah.
And look, like, I know Daniel Bellinger tested really well at the combine, but we're not under the illusion that Daniel Bellinger is this like elite Evan Ingram type of athlete out there. He's much more fluid though and smooth than a Theo Johnson, like much more.
I'd like to see that change happen very quickly with the Giants. I'm not saying bench Theo Johnson. You want to have him on the line of scrimmage. I get it. Just give him fewer snaps. Like, just give Bellinger more snaps and Theo fewer. It's really as simple as that, especially if you're going to you're not, there's no element of surprise there. You can have Bellinger lined up in that role instead of Theo on that play, knowing full well that Bellinger gives you a better chance to win that route.
Bellinger has better hands, and I think he's just a better overall route runner. He plays
Better
a little
hands,
bit
more
faster
fluid.
as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and like I like the design screens, like they had a design screen to Theo Johnson, but the timing right now is off.
Yeah, our screen game had good timing in the preseason, just totally lost that in the regular season for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't really understand why that's the case, but it is, at least as of now.
Yeah, Dan, before we jump into the superlatives, there's one drive that kind of irked me because it was sparked by this explosive play from Darius Slayton, a 52-yard catch where it was just a blown coverage one night we just went over. It was a 5-play, 52-yard drive when the Giants were down 13-17. And that's like a huge catalyst for an offense that's kind of been cooking all game.
Sure.
But the Giants ended up just absolutely stalling out after that because the next play after that 52-yard pass, the Giants get it down to the New York, the Dallas 15 or something like that. They're in the red zone again. There's another red zone drive that stalled out. They give the ball to Cam Skatte-GOAT. He has an angry run. And then there was just 2 protection breakdowns prior to the third down play where they ran a double China and it ended up sailing out of bounds. The reason why I bring up the double China route, that's 2 ins and then a corner over the top on a 3-by-1 set, is that something we saw a lot from Mike Kafka back in 2022. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. But this was the Giants.
Russ didn't trust Slayton, by the way, on that double China route. I thought he had him.
Yeah, I'm maybe a perfect throw. I wish I had that. I wish I had that clip. But the protection, this is like when the protection broke down. Protection was good but those 2 plays, the first down or the 2nd and 5, and then the 3rd and 5, and then the Giants just took a delay of game on the 4th and 5 and kicked the field goal. Like, if any of these things change, this is like a totally different game. And there were so many moments like that in this game. So I wanted to bring up this one play where this is a 4-man rush and the Giants just don't pick it up. But you see there's so much communication pre-snap from the New York Giants. And I think this is GVR, man, because if you look at the defense, GVR is looking at Russell Wilson, trying to confirm something. So I'm already under the assumption that there's a problem there, or there's maybe a miscommunication is probably the better word. You have a 4 technique over Jermaine Illuminor, and then you have a 4-eye with Marcus Mbow, but Marcus Mbow needs to kick out and handle the edge rusher. So you're gonna have John Runyon take that 4-eye. You're gonna have Illuminor kick out. So GVR should be responsible if nobody blitzes, and that's not confirmed, for this 4 technique over Illuminor. But that same player just slants inside towards John Michael Schmitz, and GVR is looking for somebody else. But nobody even was even selling that they were blitzing. I guess I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened. I won't pretend to. But this is an obvious miscommunication. It seemed like to me that John Michael Schmitz thought that GVR was handling this block, and GVR just let him run right past him. And this ends up being this could have been another just first down or a touchdown. It's just little plays like that, man. Like one miscommunication could cost the New York Giants a game. That was a frustrating sequence of plays after a massive explosive play by Darius Slayton and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, a big problem the Giants have in the red zone that I've noticed, Nick, is, in 2022 when Kafka called plays in the red zone, I was hopeful we get back to that. And we may eventually this season. Who knows? We were a very good red zone team that year. A big reason was we could run the ball in the red zone with Barkley. When you can't run the ball in the red zone, it just makes everything so difficult, because before that play, it set up a 2nd and 5. The one we just cut up and showed was the 2nd and 5. That was the protection breakdown. Then there was the 3rd and 5 double chine. Before that was the 1st and 10 run for 5 yards by Skatte-GOAT. And you say, okay, good. We can get 5 yards in the red zone. That's great. The only reason we got that 5 yards was Cam Skatte-GOAT. He was contacted for a 1 yard. The O-line blew it again. He was contacted. It would have been either a loss or a 1 yard gain. And then he just created 4 yards after contact. They just can't get it going in the red zone with the run game. It kills them.
Almost to the point too. I love that you brought it up that way, because Cam Skatte-GOAT, he was contacted. I might have this play. I'm going to try to bring it up. He was contacted, and I felt like he just levitated for 4 yards. And I was like, wait, he got 5 yards on that play? I'm like, how? Because he runs through. Yeah, okay, I do have it.
I have that play too. Yeah, you got it. Okay.
Yeah, he runs through. The safety does a great job fitting. The safety does not do a great job tackling here, and you'll see it. Cam Skatte-GOAT just lowers his shoulder and runs right through him. And then look, he just hops over people by accident, but he doesn't have any of his body parts hit the ground. You can see GVR does a good job taking on Kenneth Murray Jr. there. And then the safety meets him in the hole. No, thank you. I'm going to run you over. Look how low he gets. And then he gets tripped up by a defender who falls on the ground right here.
So when we said When we said, think about this play and about the other play we showed earlier, is 24-yard run. When Nick and I watched the film of all these backs this offseason before the Giants drafted Skatte-GOAT, go listen to our podcast in April. I'm not talking about once they draft him. And we said, we think this guy has like a not generational, but we think this guy is the best contact balance in this class besides Ashton Genty and could even be a case to be made. Just watch these two plays. Like we weren't exaggerating. We weren't being hyperbolic. Like, watch this shit, man.
Yeah, dude. Again, Cam Skatte-GOAT forced like 104 missed tackles last year. There's been like 3 or 4 running backs who have done that since PFF has counted missed tackles.
Like watching those games on tape and seeing like how the entire defense was dedicated to stop one player, Cam Skatte-GOAT, it felt like at times.
And look, there's a lot to take away from this play. Look at Theo Johnson on the backside. That's a good rep right there by Theo Johnson. And then also look at Mbow doing the James Hudson, only he hits him in the shoulder instead of the head. No, that's a good run right there. It's just disappointing that the Giants couldn't finish, man. And that's a story of the Giants a lot. Now they finished quite often here, but a lot of it was explosive plays, man. It was finishing from like the 50-yard line, which is typically much more difficult than finishing when you're in the freaking red zone. Like, I would love to look up how inefficient the Giants have to have the worst offensive efficiency through 2 games so far. I have to imagine
red zone efficiency.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. I'm sure there's a lot of bad teams. There's some teams that are just
Well, it's just because the Giants have had so many opportunities.
True. All right, we'll get into superlatives now, but I do want to say one thing, Nick. As I think about this Giants roster moving forward, I feel pretty good after this game about the roster, better than I did, and I don't think we're as far away as some fans do. And I think that with the right defensive coordinator, and who knows how we'll get that, but with the right defensive coordinator, he can work with the talent we already have. Should we get some linebackers? Sure. And we'll do that, I think, in free agency and the day 3 of the draft. But one thing that's non-negotiable as we go into this next offseason is we need talent on the interior offensive line to help us in the red zone, to help our run game. And I think we could even consider doing what the Cowboys did and overdrafting a player like Tyler Booker at 14 overall, or wherever we end up, because we just need that type of player on our offense. So I cannot wait. It's too early to say this, but I cannot wait to get to March and April and have us watch OLine tape of the interior, because I think we're going to fall in love with some players on the interior in this class. And I just think the Giants are ready at this point to finally say, all right, we need to really overinvest in the interior offensive line. We can't live like this. You just look, it worked this game. Like you said, Nick, we were able to hit all these explosive plays. Russell Wilson had a 91% catchable rate, which will never repeat for any quarterback in the history of the NFL. And we hit them, and nobody dropped the deep pass. But like, you need to be able to have a run game in the red zone. You need to have a run game in general, and they can't do that right now with this interior offensive line as is.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. This is unacceptable. I don't even know if it's going to get better. One note too, Eberflus did throw a curveball and played a little bit of zone match, a little bit more match when they were in the red zone on a couple of those possessions that ended up
because he can
keeping points off the board. You know, it's little things like that that can win you a football game if the execution isn't there, like we saw with that GBR JMS play. But yeah, let's get into some superlatives there, bub.
Unheralded player of the game for you,
Jermaine Illuminor. Felt like he was solid.
Yeah. He's a candidate. I'm going with Marcus Mbow. Comes in the game, wasn't prepped all week to play this position, and looks like that. That's phenomenal stuff. I'm so excited about it.
Oh, 100%. I went under the presumption that he was heralded, though.
It's always tough for us to know that the herald does count as heralded, does not count as heralded. Reminds me of like the sleepers breakouts debate that we have on Fantasy Football Today. One time Heath got Adam to blow up over that, which was so funny. Best throw on tape.
It was the go-ahead Malik Nabers touchdown.
Yeah, look, it's stupid to not say that's the best throw, but if we're looking for a second one, I had it written down, the 1st and 10, quarter 2, 6:27 that you went over when he hit Wan'Dale Robinson on that inside back shoulder to kind of throw it between. That's just such a sick throw.
Layered, man. You're just layering over zones and before zones.
Player, we so many good throws.
He did, man. Russell Wilson played very well in this game. It sucks that it ended the way it did and he made a mistake and people are remembering him poorly. The guy threw for almost a career high. He was 2 yards away from being a career high and threw for more yards than we've seen from a Giants quarterback since like 2011 or something.
And was not aided at all by garbage time yardage. It was all needed. It was all just yards he created and very few yards after the catch too. I bet that was his career high if you remove.
And people be like, well, it was overtime. It's like, well, they didn't do anything in overtime. So he had those yards in overtime. Yeah. I mean, they started overtime hot too, man.
That's that out route to Nabers.
Well, yeah, two completions, the Nabers, and then fall apart. Player we expect to see more from?
Yeah, for this one, I went. There's a few we can go for. I went with Tyrone Tracy Jr. I was just kind of surprised at the small lacking role that he had in this game, but I think we went over it yesterday. Probably a doghouse thing.
Yeah, he's in the doghouse. I wonder if it's just a 1 week thing in the doghouse. But Skatte-GOAT, like, look, his comments coupled with Cam Skatte-GOAT being Cam Skatte-GOAT and Brian Daboll being absolutely in love with Cam Skatte-GOAT is not great for Tyrone Tracy Jr.
It's definitely not, even though he's a great player and I love him. And his film last year was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Best player on tape. We didn't get that one.
No, I had oh yeah, you're right. I had Greg Van Roten though.
Oh, sorry for the players expecting to see more. I just don't expect it anymore from him. I just think he's done. So
that's what I put in the notes. I said, but should we? Yeah, best overall player was Russell Wilson. He was
without a doubt. The only person who could even be in consideration would be Nabers, but he didn't do as much as Russ did individually.
Yeah, I agree. Pass blocking.
I had a high grade this week. This was like back to our week 1 through 6 last year type of grade. Like I had 7.9.
Yeah, I had 8.1, dude.
Okay. Wow. I love it. Run blocking. What'd you have for run blocking?
I had a 2.8.
2.5 for me. I thought there were a few better moments to get it over like the 0.0. I think mostly just what you said. And maybe this doesn't even belong. This is how we don't know if the grades are like, we have our own interpretation of what counts. But like last week, Washington was just guessing our snaps and shooting it. We didn't have that as much. So I guess it raises the grade up a little bit for me. And that's kind of what factored in. But we're not. I'll be surprised if we get above 5 maybe all year in a single game at this point, unless Mbow gets in there.
When Andrew Thomas comes back, maybe, because maybe he can help with some of the duo double teams with John Runyon on the front side of those blocks, and maybe he'll be doing it. But yeah, it's not great. It's not a great situation, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. Can't run the football, man.
I can't believe I'm saying this, Nick. I'm not going to say it. I was going to say, like, I almost am willing to give up a couple pass block reps a game to get Evan Neal in over GVR at this point. Like, I'd like the rep that we went over. I'm joking mostly. We probably can't play Neal. He's probably unplayable. But the rep we went over earlier where you said, like, GVR kind of got, like, his back bent back. Like, that's not going to happen to Evan Neal probably.
No, but if you just like stepped and if you just half Evan Neal, like you're in an advantageous position because he's not going to match.
What a disaster this interior offensive line is.
It's crazy. It is. And he's not even, and he's not even dressing. Like the guy doesn't dress, bro, Evan Neal. This is a top 10 pick from a few years ago, and you can't even dress him. They try to kick him inside. He can't do that.
Play him. We can't play Banks.
I don't know where he is mentally. And this is like something, maybe a podcast for another day. I don't love speaking on things like this because I don't know, but I'm going off of reports and I'm going off of how these specific players comported themselves publicly.
Sure.
And the Giants and Joe Schoen have drafted some mentally, I would say, fragile players, man.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of players like Deonte Banks. We have reports coming out that this kid needs to mature. Those are what anonymous sources in the building are saying. And then I think anybody who is objective and has eyes can see that. Evan Neal, you could say the same thing. It was 2 years ago when he was talking about how Giant fans flip burgers and he doesn't really like how many times are you going to make that mistake? I mean, this was a regime similar to Joe Judge. And I know a lot of this is bullshit that said that we want to draft like the right type of person, the right type of players. And they're bringing in guys who are faltering under pressure, and you're a professional at this point. You got to own being a professional. These are 2 first-round picks who aren't really seeing the field as much as they should. One of them's not even dressing, and they have not done well handling the New York pressure. I don't know if it would have been the same if they went to Tennessee or if they went to Green Bay or any of these other places, but in New York, under the microscope, it's been poor. I wanted to get your thoughts on that before we conclude this podcast.
No, you're right. And that's just something that they'll have to answer to at some point. And by they, I mean Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, because we can't, this team doesn't have the depth to do this. Like if you're going to make all the investments they've made in the players that you discussed, interior offensive lineman, a corner, Banks and Neal, and then a wide receiver with Hyatt, well, you're going to sacrifice other positions, and that's linebacker. And right now the Giants are hilariously, to some, but to me, pathetically and dangerously low at the linebacker position. They've done nothing. They drafted Micah in the 5th and nothing else. I guess Moose out in the late rounds too, and nothing else. And they haven't added anybody. They added Okereke years ago, and that was it. And they're just getting to a point now where they just have nothing at linebacker, and it's going to cost them because it already costs them in some degree. Like they want to run this bullshit defense with 2 safeties 15 yards off the ball and then how many times do we see people retreating after the snap? These safeties will go over that next pod. It just angered me. I have like 4 cut up clips of that. When you need linebackers to play the middle hook, and you need linebackers to help you get in the passing lanes, you're putting it on their plate, and they don't have the guys to do it. So it is what it is.
I mean, you're right, dude. I mean, you can look, and I'm not 100% sure who's more at fault. It looked like Dane Belton was playing over top of Jake Ferguson on that,
We'll talk about this next.
18-yard play. Yeah, but Okereke's pretty late to get into that passing lane.
Yeah,
and he looks, and I think Okereke is still making plays on tape. He's not a terrible player, but he's lost a step. Like he's a little slow.
Lost a step. Yeah, I don't think it's even worth debating. You just see it on the tape. All right. Thanks everybody tuning in to Big Blue Banter offensive film review. Please do us a favor. Look at the time we just put. Nick and I are literally watching the tape all morning, then cutting up the tape to share on the show, and then breaking it down. All we ask from you is to hit the like button every time you watch the show. Even if you're watching for a second now or at the end, if you don't hit the like button and we're doing all this, it's really unfortunate to us. And I'm just going to be honest, it's unfair. So I really do appreciate those who do it every time. Some of you are just vigilant with it. You're going to hit the like button every time. But there's other times we'll see 10,000 views and only 300 likes or something. That's unacceptable, to be quite frank. And I know I'm being harsh here, but you need to hit the like button. It takes 3 seconds of your time, and we need it. So I'm just going to be honest, we need it. And same thing goes for a comment. Leave a comment. We need to get this. Like, we need to make sure that if we're going to do these film reviews, people see them. And that's how you do it.
Especially if we get DM'd too, man. Especially if we're getting DM'd, which we did on one of our videos last time.
Yeah, because they don't like when we use the tape. But it is what it is. We're doing it for you guys. We don't care. We're putting you guys over the money that we could make from this pod by not sharing the tape and just going over it. And that's fine and all good and well. But we at least want to hope this video pops so we can improve, and our reach and the people who subscribe to the show. To me, quite frank, we should have more subscribers. I'll be honest with the situation. I don't really love that we're only at 11K or whatever it is. Just my personal opinion. But to all you loyal people, and most of you are loyal, thank you so much for hitting the like button and leaving a comment, because most of you do this. But just if you haven't, just keep it in mind and consider just giving us a like this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you with the defensive pod next.